Are you or someone you know looking to buy or sell a home? When you use a HomeGain Realtor to buy or sell a home, you can get $150. Visit HomeGain.com and click on the Promo 150 banner at the top of the page to get started. Compare HomeGain Realtors and choose your favorite. Complete your home purchase or sale transaction with a HomeGain Realtor, and HomeGain will pay you $150. Get started today by going to HomeGain.com.
Welcome back to Real Estate 360 Live. This is Ryan Sloper. I'm your host, joined today by my guest, Louis Cammarosano, the general manager of HomeGain. Quick reminder, Real Estate 360 is designed to build the Washington, D.C. Metro's housing and credit markets. If you ever have any questions, concerns, or real estate needs, the best number to reach out to us is 877-245-2030. That's 877-245-2030, or via the web at realestate360live.com. That's realestate360live.com. There's an Ask a Question button on the right-hand side if you have any questions. Also, there's a free ebook on short sales and the best way to navigate short sales on the right side. That's free to download. All you have to do is enter in your name and email, and that'll be sent out to you directly. This week, I wanted to jump into our Credit Fix segment where we basically tell you what the big banks and credit bureaus don't want you to know. And this week, I've had a lot of people ask me, well, why are there always so many errors on people's credit reports? And one of the things that the first thing I want to explain to everybody is, when somebody pulls your credit, so let's say you go into like a Banana Republic or whatever store it may be, and they offer you, hey, 15% off today if you take out this credit card. Well, there's all these fields that have to be inputted in order for the person to actually be able to pull your credit to see if you're approved. First name, last name, current address, previous address, employer, social security number, date of birth, public records. I mean, there's all kind of different things that are in there. Now, there's a mathematical algorithm that determines that through a certain amount of these fields are actually inputted in, that actually gets labeled onto that person's credit profile. So let's say, Louis, in your sake, let's just say, your name's Louis Cammarosano. Let's say that there's another Louis Cammarosano out there that has your same social, except the last two digits of it are different, but that was inputted in. That Louis Cammarosano might get added onto your actual credit profile.
It actually happened in mine, and I do have a cousin who has a different middle initial, he has a different social security number, but one of his cards was on my report.
Absolutely. And see, this can happen, for addresses, for employers, for many different things. So what ends up happening is that it's just because of the algorithm that's set up is why people can end up having all these errors. Now, and in the end, a lot of the times, a lot of these negative things end up affecting people's credit negatively, and that's really what the credit bureaus want to drive your score down. So it allows banks to charge you higher interest rates down the line. But what there's really the important thing here is to make sure that you're checking your credit report every 6 months or so to make sure that you don't have any of these erroneous things showing up on your report. Because if you do, then you probably want to get them taken care of. I mean, I can't tell you how many people probably don't even know what's on the report, probably have, maybe 15 or 16 different addresses on there. And it's interesting because a lot of the time when people get turned down, a lot of these so-called creditors or banks that are going to be issuing a loan, they're thinking that it's erroneous information that you're giving them on the application because it doesn't match the actual credit profile that's there.
Right.
I mean, and it can't be any more wrong than that. I mean, you never even asked for that information to get put there, but just because the person that was filling out the initial application to pull the credit didn't actually put in first name, last name, current address, previous address, employer, so they didn't have an exact match, it automatically started throwing other people's stuff on your credit report. And this is all too common. I mean, the average person has at least 12 inaccuracies on their credit report. That's the average person. And I find it very interesting as well that the same, credit bureaus that are out there doing this, also a lot of them offer this identity theft protection, right? Why I think that's so interesting is because they're basically selling you insurance to handle, your identity being wrongfully taken, which it's actually proven that a lot of this identity being taken is from these merged files that are basically one person's information getting merged with another. A lot of this,
their own mistakes.
Yeah, their own mistakes. I want to say it's probably like 10 to 20% of the identity theft is from that in itself. So they're selling you insurance against stuff that they're actually creating in the first place.
Good racket if you can get in on that.
I mean, it is. And what I always tell people is that, unfortunately, most people depend upon their credit because they need it. That a lot of people don't have cash on hand that they can pay for everything. So with that being the case, you need to make sure that you're staying in tune with your credit, and that when you spot an inaccuracy, you get it removed. Like I said, by the Fair Credit Reporting Act states that there's nothing that has to be on your credit report. So if you allow it to stay there, you're making that conscious decision to do so. My best advice is to make sure that you're working with a professional. Obviously, I use Ronnie Lambeth, and the big deal there is you're not paying a dime unless something gets deleted off your credit report, unless he's successful in doing so. So it's really no cost to you to have it done. And if you get something that's erroneously or inaccurately reported on there, it's just going to help you in the long run. It could be the difference in saving, hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of dollars a year. And this is really small, minor thing. A lot of people just don't understand how complicated the whole credit reporting process is. And I think that it is vital to kind of, make yourself aware of what's going on there and understand it, because it is going to affect you and your everyday life. Not just with mortgage rates, but with credit cards, auto loans, anything you may do, whether you're trying to, if you get turned down for a mortgage loan, what makes you think that you're going to walk across the street to an apartment complex and they're going to accept you? Lewis, that's one of the things I've actually noticed is that a lot of these apartment complexes, because the rates are rising and there's a lot more competition, less supply out there, people are becoming increasingly more picky at who they'll rent to.
And especially in places where the local municipality are very pro-renter, it's very hard to get somebody out if they're not paying.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I'm moving through this year with prices increasing. It's all the more important. Even if you don't plan on buying a home, if you're a renter, at some point you want to buy. But even if you don't, even if you just you plan on staying a renter for life, you still probably you're going to have plans to buy a car, or you need a credit card for something, or whether it's student loans, whatever it may be. You still need your credit for other things outside of just buying a house. And I think a lot of people forget about that, and I think people only worry about credit when it's that time to worry about it, which means at the time that they need it for a purchase of something.
Correct.
You know what I mean? And that's the wrong way to go about it. It's credit needs to be factored into the overall long-term financial responsibility of each person to set up their own goals of where they want to be. And this is one of the important things. I've always said, Lewis, I think that this is the type of thing that's important to. I never understood why high schools don't adopt some sort of financial education class.
They should start that even younger than high school.
Yeah, well, like middle school, you could start it then. But I think that if you would start integrating that in, like what are checkbooks? What are credit cards?
What are bonds? What are stocks?
Yeah, what happens if you don't pay your bills? What are collection companies? You know what I mean?
What's a credit score, right?
All these basic things, and until what ends up happening is people have no clue. They end up, whether they go to college or not, they end up getting their first credit card offer, and then it spirals out of control.
Well, it goes against the whole concept of education, because they want you just to ask no questions, take out the loan, and pay whatever the college is charging.
Yeah. Yep. We're coming up on the end of the show, Lewis, but I know your home game's going to release the survey this Wednesday, and we're going to give the results of that survey next week. Would you mind giving us a quick little short 60-second glimpse of what's ahead?
Yeah, sure. Every quarter, Home Gain surveys homeowners and realtors and asks them a series of questions. But the main one that most people are interested in is where's the direction of home prices going? And you see that in this current survey, there has been an uptick in the number of realtors, the percentage of realtors who think home prices will either stay the same or increase. For the last few quarters, most have been predicting a decrease. The most interesting thing in the survey that we've chose to highlight is that in areas such as Florida, Nevada, and Arizona, realtors are expecting prices to increase there. Those are probably some of the hardest hit areas in the country. And also realtors are expecting areas like Massachusetts and your area, Ryan, Virginia, the listener area, to increase as well. So it seems like the areas that have been hardest hit and the ones that have been chugging along really relatively unscathed are the ones that realtors are expecting home prices to kind of increase a bit or stay the same. So there seems to be, for the first time in probably a year or two, a general consensus amongst realtors and homeowners that prices are going to start to inch up or remain the same. The last time we saw this kind of increase is when they had announced the first-time homebuyer credit, which did bring in some buyers, which did help raise the price back at the end of 1999 and early 2010.
Yeah, that's that. I'm looking forward to that report next week, Lewis. And
well, you can see it now, Ryan. You can go to blog.homegain.com. It's not on the front
okay.
page. It is on the blog. And also, when you come to HomeGain, you can also go to the blog and you can get the whole archive of this show
for
the last year or so. And you can also go to YouTube and type in HomeGain, and you can also pick up past shows that you might have missed on Real Estate 360 with Ryan Sloper.
Perfect, Lewis. I appreciate it. I'll be looking forward to next week as well.
Okay. Talk to you soon.
Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be back again next Monday from 2 to 3 p.m. Remember, if you have any questions or concerns about anything that we covered today, the best number to reach out to us is 877-245-2030. That's 877-245-2030. Or you can reach out via the web at realestate360live.com. That's realestate360live.com. And if you go on there, if you have any questions for me, just click on the Ask a Question button on the right-hand side. I'd be glad to get back to you within the next 12 hours or so. Also, we have Enter to Win. You can enter to win our monthly giveaway. All you have to do is put in your name and email and click Submit, and we'll do a monthly giveaway. And lastly, there is a Fight Foreclosure guide, which is a comprehensive guide to fight foreclosure and to not let the banks win. All you have to do is type in your name and email address. Thanks, guys. Have a great week, and we will be talking to you again next week.